Okay, welcome to the new and improved Ironstruck website, and we're here at the bike shop in Calgary, Alberta. And today we're going to focus on road bikes and try and help you get started doing your first triathlon maybe. And we have Ryan from the bike shop sales rep is going to go over everything for you. And Ryan, take it away.
Thanks very much, Rick. I guess a few important things to realize about road bikes for triathletes is that not every triathlete needs a triathlon-specific bike. If you don't already have a road bike, this is probably a better place to start, especially for people that are new to the sport. There's a few reasons why. So the first reason why is the riding position that the athlete's going to be in. A road bike affords you a more upright riding position, maybe not as aerodynamic, maybe not as powerful, but much more comfortable for your long training rides, your winters on the trainer, depending on where you are in the world. And it can be adapted to be a very suitable race day bike. There are some changes we can make, for example, by adding a clip-on bar onto the handlebar, flipping the stem up into a more upright riding position, moving the seat forward on the rails so that you're using different muscle groups than you're going to use to run. Ray and I were just talking off camera about the fact that most of the people that we talk to here in the store come in and they want to talk about the bike and the components and the weight and this and that. And what we really need to talk to them about is the run, because that's one of the most important components of the ride is the position that you're in and saving yourself for the most difficult part of the triathlon. So by moving the seat forward on the rails, when it comes time to get off and run, you've been using opposite muscle groups, your lower legs, the back of your legs, your glutes, not the same muscles that you run with. When you go out on your long fitness and training rides, when you're building base and cardio, you certainly want to be in a position where your body can absorb vibration comfortably. You're going to be using those big muscles, you're going to be working your cardio system, all that sort of stuff, and then slowly shift into that more forward position to activate those other muscles getting closer to the race. And that's not about the ride, that's actually about the run. This bike is something that I picked out just because of a couple of things. It's what we call a more upright riding or a more recreational fit road bike, but it's actually more suitable to triathletes or people doing triathlons because of a couple of things. You'll notice in the front that it's got quite a tall stack height from the wheel up to the top of the handlebar. And what that allows us to do is have a nice level fit between the seat and the handlebar. That brings your hands in closer to your body, has you up sitting more upright, but in the addition, when you get to a point where you move the seat forward and you put those added bars on the handlebar, you're going to be in a nice compact position where your body can rest. On a very racy, aggressive road bike, the top tube is a lot longer. The distance between the seat and the handlebar is a lot longer. You're going to find that you're feeling stretched out, your elbows are out in front. It's not a restful, relaxing aero position. It's very aero, but you're working really hard to stay in that position. So something that is tall in the steer tube and short between the seat and the handlebar is very desirable for someone doing recreational triathlons. From a position standpoint, that would be the most important points to touch on. There are bikes available in carbon in that fit. There are bikes available in aluminum in that fit. We've got bikes in that range that go from $800 to $8,000, and for everyone in between. So you can spend whatever you need.
Okay, so Ryan, could you tell us a little bit about the pedal system and why a clipless system is much better than what the bike originally comes with?
Yeah, these real sweetheart resin pedals with reflectors may not be the best option for you from a pedaling efficiency standpoint, and again, in saving energy for the run. So the clipless pedal systems, there's lots of different brands. This is a Look pedal with a Diodora shoe, Shimano Specialized, everybody's got their own thing going. They all work together the same way. The idea is that the pedal interfaces with the bottom of the shoe almost like a ski binding. What that does for you is it allows you to transfer energy with the entirety of your pedal stroke, the flat bottom at the bottom, the upstroke through the back, as well as the heavy downstroke through the front. When you're riding on a flat pedal with a pair of shoes that are not attached, all you're transferring energy with is that downstroke, and that downstroke uses the same muscle groups as running, the big muscles, the quads and the calves. You want to save those muscles as much as you can. So when you slide the seat forward, you're going to get into a position where your legs are directly over the cranks. If you're able to use the entire pedal stroke by pulling up and back through the pedal stroke, you're transferring energy more efficiently, you're saving your energy in the right areas for the run. No question about it, it might add a little bit to your time as far as transition goes, but when you can get across the finish line upright at the end of that run, I think you're going to be pretty happy with that decision.
So first of all, what point do you think new triathletes should be ready to advance to air bars from just a regular road bike? And what types are there and how do they work exactly?
There's lots of different types. There are some styles that are more, again, upright, a little more recreational, a little more multi-position. For people doing sprints, I don't usually recommend the aero bars just because those courses, even some of the Olympic courses, tend to be a little twistier and turnier. As a person gets more experienced on the road bike, shifting, steering, braking, all that sort of stuff, then if they're comfortable with their bike and they're comfortable at speed doing those things, you know, a pair of additional bars may be a reasonable option. There are lots of people out there doing triathlons that are simply not comfortable with clip-on bars, and so they just stay in the road bike position, which is totally fine too. Depending on what you want out of your triathlon is what you're going to put into it. And if you're not comfortable and you don't feel confident on these things, simply don't get involved. The way they work is that they attach onto the handlebar, just like that. Obviously, they'd be lower than that. Your elbows are going to rest here. These are adjustable in length and width, so it would allow for your hands to be here on the ends. You'll see some inserts here on the ends. These plugs come out, and you can actually run a brake lever down there. So the idea being that when you're in your aero bar or on your additional bar, what we want to see is a nice compact position where your elbows are directly under your chin, or maybe a little less than 90 degrees. The idea with that is that you're resting on your big bones and your skeleton, as opposed to that racy position I was talking about earlier where your arms are out in front. As soon as you get into this position, now your muscles and your supporting muscles are doing a lot more work. We want you to be aero, but we want you to be resting in that position. So you're going to have you nice and compact with your elbows tucked in. It is very aero. It is very fast and efficient, but like I say, some people who aren't as comfortable on the road bikes, I certainly don't recommend it to people who are buying their first road bike or it's brand new. Maybe once you go through a season or a few races, you might want to add them on, but it may not be something that people ever get comfortable with, and that's okay too.
So if that were the case, if they never got comfortable with this on a road bike, then they would never advance to a tri-bike.
It's something that, yeah, it's
So all
always,
your tri-bikes are
they all
configured.
come with bullhorns, like most of them don't even have drops. And again, there are people out there, you know, if you're at Ironmans and you see the people in the events, there's lots of people doing Ironmans and those types of events on road bikes as well. Whether it be because of the economics, I mean, having 2 or 3 really nice bikes in your quiver is a great idea from our standpoint, but it doesn't really work for a lot of people. And it's not necessarily a sacrifice in performance. Maybe there's a competitive advantage that someone else that has that you don't have, but if that's not a worry of yours, save your money, be on a comfortable bike that you can adapt to a race day position, and it may or may not involve an additional bar.
Well, I know personally my best ever Ironman and bike run and swim was on an aluminum frame, road bike.
And that's the thing. It's
you know, it fit me. Right?
One of the things that we find with people is people tend to get really hung up on the equipment, and it's not actually about the equipment. Sometimes we have to talk people out of coming in and talking to us about wheel spoke tensions and cassette, you know, gear ranges and this and that, because it's actually about the person. It's about how you fit on the bike, how you perform. You'll notice all the bikes that we have here are sitting still without someone on them. Right. The person is the engine of the whole operation. So you can have all the technical materials and wingdings and certain gear ratios and all that kind of stuff, but if it doesn't fit you comfortably or properly, if your body's not in a natural optimum position, it's simply not the best value for you. It's not the best thing for you to buy.
Which is a really good point. So how important is getting properly fit to any bike you buy?
Fitting is critical. I mean, it really is. When we talk about road bikes, again, it is a piece of equipment in the vein that it's not you on the road, it's the wheels. But at the end of the day, you're what's driving that thing. The bike, a lot of times the bike could do better, but if it fit you better, you would do better. That's the more important thing. And the fact of the matter is, most people who are buying a bike from us are buying a bike, they're buying a bike to do a triathlon with, but it's going to be a piece of recreational equipment for them. They want to go out, they want to ride for fitness, they want to ride for fun, they want to enjoy themselves, they're going to do a triathlon. If they do 6 triathlons a year, they still want to be able to go out with their friends and do the Golden Triangle or the Bragg Creek Ride or any of these different things. And so in order to get that value out of it, getting the person to sit in the most relaxed, most neutral, natural position for them to be in is critical. I mean, that's really where the value is in the bike. All the different bikes that we sell and carry, the brands that we've chosen and selected, we put this program together because of fit. Because everybody makes if you're talking about $2,000 or $3,000 full carbon, you're going to get a light bike. You're going to get a bike with great parts. You're going to get a bike that rides really well. The difference between them is how do we optimize you and your body and your riding to get the most out of that bike? Because that's really where the difference lies.
Right. Okay, so, and when it comes to a seat isn't just a seat. Like everybody,
no.
Different types of seats, and
certainly.
what's the difference between them?
Some of the things, there's some of the most important relationships people have with their bicycles are their seats. I've grabbed a couple of examples here. One of the things we like to stress with our customers is that there's only 3 places on your bike where you actually contact or interface with your bike. It's your pedals, your handlebar, and your seat. Seat by far is the one that determines comfort, the enjoyment of your ride. Are you motivated to get back on your bike tomorrow? Maybe some people aren't, and it's just because of the relationship with the seat. So there are some differences. I grabbed a couple of examples from Specialized here. They do a great job with their body geometry program. The bikes, the seats, and their products in body geometry are designed by Dr. Roger Minkow and Andy Pruitt to optimize physical and athletic performance, but at the same time not sacrifice any kind of medical sacrifices. There's no pain, there's no pressure, those kinds of things. A comfortable bike seat may be some kind of oxymoron in the universe. It's a matter of, some people will never be comfortable on a bike seat, but we can certainly get you one that will not do you any harm. Some of the features about them, this is the men's, this is the Specialized Roman. Some of the features of them, you can see that this guy is grooved all the way down the middle, cut nice and wide open to allow blood flow, release nerve pressure, less soft tissue damage or less soft tissue pressure, and grooved right up over the nose. This seat is designed for a very aggressive riding position, somebody that wants to be forward, wants to be going fast. A lot of people you'll see on seats like this, you'll see behind where they end, where their butt ends on the seat, there'll be 2 or 3 fingers of space on the back of the seat because they're right up on the front and they're pushing it and they're going hard. So we want to allow for all those tissues and nerves and blood vessels to act naturally and flow properly, but we don't want that person to feel like they're sacrificing their performance.
And that's even more important when you're getting out and run a marathon or 10K.
Again, it's not actually, the bike and the performance of the bike during the ride is important, but it's not the end. And when you ride across the finish line of the ride, you're not done. You have to continue to operate. So we need to make sure that you're comfortable, that blood flow is correct, that you don't have any numbness or burning, all those kinds of things. When we look at a women's performance saddle, you'll definitely notice that it's a different shape, a flatter profile, a wider cutout, again, grooved right up through the middle. Some little difference is you'll notice that this seat kicks up on the back just a little bit. A lot of people, when they're climbing and they're sitting in the saddle, tend to feel like they're sliding off the back of the saddle and they're always hitching up on the saddle. When this saddle kicks up behind you a little bit, you can actually push against it to optimize again. We're not trying to get more energy out of you, we're trying to get more out of the energy you're already putting out. And that's little features like that optimize your performance without changing or sacrificing your comfort and your enjoyment.